Les amis, today we're looking at the Douk Douk, a very traditional French slip joint from France. Now, French things from France, obviously. However, a lot of stuff these days that says it's from a country is actually made in China, or elsewhere. This is still very proudly made in France. Made in France, I'll translate. So you'll have seen that I've got two. One doesn't have made in France written on it. The other one does. One is a little bit rusty and scruffy. The other one is a bit nicer. So I just bought two because it was a guy selling these on the local marketplace, and there were two for a great price, so I got both. So let's have a look at this together. Before we look into it in some detail, this design, this style of knife, as I said, is a traditional French knife. Now, it's made up in a town called Thiers, which is the knife-making capital of France. So in Germany, it would be Solingen. In England, it would be Sheffield. So in France, it's Thiers. And it's just north of the Massif Central, so very central France, quite high up, a beautiful part of France. I've never been to the town itself, but I've been around that area, and it genuinely is nice. There's volcanoes and stuff. It's really extinct volcanoes. It's a glorious part of the world. And these knives have been made, I think, since, I can't remember when. Now, that's what I wanted to get to. I'm not going to tell you about the history of these knives. That you can read all about it yourself on Google. Just put Douk Douk, so D-O-U-K, D-O-U-K, and it'll tell you all about the funny little character, the way it's made, the history of it. The history about these things is readily available on the internet. And there's other knives. This is the Douk Douk, the traditional one. There's also an écureuil, which means squirrel, has a different blade shape. There's different handle sorts, colours, colourful ones. There's even, now this is a carbon steel blade, there's even stainless steel blades available. This is really scruffy. I'm just going to give it a little polish just to show it at its best before we have a look at it. So, as I said at the beginning, this is a slip joint, and it's really a firm slip joint. I've got two, as I said. We'll have a look at the rusty one in a minute, but first we're going to look at the nice one. Now, it's black, and it's just a piece of metal folded over with this sort of lanyard loop at one end, and it's got this back spring is inside. You can see, so the metal is folded over. Focus is tricky because it's so thin. Just a piece of metal folded over, and inside, let's see if we can make it out, there's the spring, which is a very sturdy affair. You can just see the tip of it poking out there. Let's see if we can see some movement of the spring. Yeah, so as I push the blade, you can see the spring is flexing, and it does a great job of locking it's not locking, but keeping the blade, slip joint way open. And it has the half stop, very, very firm. And listen to the snap as I close it. So super strong action, and there's no nail nick. It's just a grab, and it's easy to grab. Now the shape of the blade it's got a sort of a wedge to it, so it's easy to grab. There's more of it at the spine, so to grab is easy. Once it's closed, it's got some edges, isn't it? It's got some pointy bits going on all over the place, but that's part of the charm, isn't it? So on one side, it's got this funny little character. I think it's like a Polynesian character, etched. No, it's sort of engraved into the black metal. And modèle déposé, I think that's sort of patent pending. Or patented. The back is unadorned, and the pin here, the pivot pin, is just a pin, and you can see it's kind of been pinned rather rudimentarily, but that's part of the charm. The blade itself has nothing on the back, and on the front, nothing at the base, but made in France, and this lovely pattern. What is that? It's just sort of etched on. You can't feel it. It's what, drawn on, painted on. I don't know how that's on, but it's on all those. Douk Douk. And it's, as I said, it's a carbon steel, nice and sharp, super sharp, lovely pointy end to it, super useful shape. And now, this is the large version. There are two sizes. This is the large, and large means 11 centimetres long in the handle. Overall, with the blade, cutting length is 8.4 millimetres. The blade is 9 millimetres. So overall, it's 20. Not 9 millimetres, 9 centimetres, sorry. Overall, 20. You can get the small version. Forgotten. It's the handle length is 9. I can't remember what it makes it. 17 altogether, something like that. So the small version and the large version. Now, this is the large version, and the small version doesn't have "Made in France." I think it just says something like France. So you can in photos you can see that you won't be able to tell whether it's big or small, other than it doesn't have "Made in France" on the little one. I think it says France. So there you go. That's the large Douk Douk. Cracking little thing. Oh, I should have measured the thinness. That's kind of one of the drawers of it. It's 5 millimeters thick, half a centimeter thick, super thin. I mean, that, you know, it just disappears into your pocket, and it's a very rustic, heavy duty sort of thing. So chuck that in your pocket, get it scratched. It doesn't care. It's super cheap. You can get these for anything from 10 to 30 euros, brand new, up to about 30 euros, used 10, 15 euros. You know, it's almost throwaway, but it's got that charm. Now this is the other one that I got. As I said, I got the two. Now this is showing rust, signs of rust, which carbon would, if not looked after. Now in France, right, so this is quite interesting. I think it's quite interesting. I'm a member of various watch groups on Facebook and so on, and one of the questions that often comes up is, what oil should I use to look after my carbon knives? In America, in American groups, they say gun oil is the best, and that is a good answer. It's, you know, give your blades a coating of that, and it will prevent them from rusting. In France, on French forums and groups, what oil should I use to look after my blades? Cut some saucisson. Cut up some French saucisson, and the oils from the meat will be perfect for looking after your blade. I love the cultural difference between America and France. One is gun oil, the other one is sausage. Now, the advantage of saucisson is saucisson. It's quite thin, sort of cured sausage, cured meat, quite fatty, very fatty, but tasty. And it's got like a paper rind. You have to peel the paper rind off. Anyway, it is a good idea. It does coat your blade with oil. Plus, it's food safe. However, your blades will then smell of pork. Anyway. So this one has a bit of rust, as you can see. Now, I started to try and clean that rust off. The trouble is, it will take the Douk Douk design off as well, so I've just left the rust. You'll notice, though, that this one doesn't have Made in France written on it. So there are some differences out there between them all. So that's it for the Douk Douk. Cracker, isn't it? Fantastic. Slice of history, if you'll pardon the pun. Thanks very much for watching. There's more knife reviews on my channel. Please have a look around. Subscribe for more. And leave some comments below. Now, don't be too hard on me. I'm not an expert on this. I didn't say I was an expert. But if you have anything interesting to say, we can have a chat about this Douk Douk or the Douk Douk brand. That would be great. And I'll see you soon.